What's going on YouTube? So the luxury compact SUV segment is the most important segment for a German automaker to do well in. And that's why today we're with the latest 2026 version of Mercedes compact SUV, the GLC. And we want to know today, is this what you should put in your driveway over the also new BMW X3 and Audi Q5? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's kick this beautiful fall review off with a spec dump. So under the hood of this GLC, you can find a few different powertrains. This is the standard GLC 300, so it's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making 255 horsepower. It's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and with the all-wheel drive system, our combined fuel economy is 26 mpg.
Now, the base price of the GLC in 2026 is a hair under $50,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on in this review, we'll take it out for a spin. While we're on that spin, we'll get things like our sound level reading, and at the end, discuss resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the exterior as well as the inside. When this generation of the GLC first came out, it really didn't rock the boat too much with the overall design, and that kind of smooth, very classy, elegant design continues on for 2026. Now, of course, that's not to say that all of them, are lacking spice or anything. As you can see, we've got a lot of blacked out elements. That's because this model, as equipped today, has two of the very popular option packages. We have the AMG line, which gives you this sport grille, and we also have the AMG Night package, which gives you all the blacked out elements, including down here on our lower fascia. I think this all looks really quite fantastic with the available Alpine Gray paint color. Now, as far as the lights are concerned, you have standard full LED lights on all models. These are reflector LEDs. That's what's standard equipment. You can also get an optional digital LED, is what Mercedes calls it. It's a projector LED with adaptive abilities. And you also have your LED daytime running light and turn signal indicator. And then out back with this GLC, you'll continue to see a very smooth and elegant design.
Yeah, I really like the elegance of this model. I definitely think it looks a little bit classier than something like a BMW X3. And let's talk about some individual design touches. So we have a spoiler up here at the top, a rear window wiper, black across the back in between our taillights. And speaking of our taillights, let's see if all the elements are LED. So we have an LED brake light, LED amber turn signal indicator, as well as an LED reverse light. And then down here at the lower part, you will notice that we have some faux exhaust outlets. That's going to be included because we have the AMG line model that's going to kind of beef up this lower fascia. As far as the tow rating, that comes in at 3,500 pounds.
Moving on to the wheels, you have options between 18 and 20-inch alloys. What we have today is the 19-inch AMG alloy that comes with the AMG Night package. One thing I want to mention for 2026 is that Mercedes is now giving you a free 19-inch alloy that you can add onto the base model. So, as you know, with German cars, free is hard to come by, so that's certainly appreciated for a lot of people. Now, there's also something called the AMG Light package, and that gives you things like the wheels, but without the rest of the elements. Moving up here to our mirrors, we have a gloss black finish, and these are fully loaded on all models, including auto dimming and power folding.
Now, at the side of the GLC, overall vehicle length is 185 inches, and as far as design touches, we have blacked out window surrounds and blacked out roof rails. And let's talk about safety. So, unfortunately, Mercedes is still going to make you pay extra if you want all of your active safety features. You do get 2 out of 4 of those as standard equipment, but of course they are offering a driver's assistance package to give you the other available features, including things like a traffic jam assist. But guys, there's a really nice cabin on the inside that we need to talk about. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Now let's check out the interior. First, here's our key fob. we have the latest and greatest Mercedes key fob. It's very nice and high quality with the real metal trim. Of course, smart entry is standard equipment on this. And you can just reach behind the handle there. That will unlock the door and fold the mirrors outward. All right, and then peeking inside the interior. As you can see, we have a pretty nice look to this as well. But before we get into the individual details, I want to start, of course, by talking about the seats. So what comes standard on the GLC line is MB Tex. That is a synthetic leather. That's what we have on today's tester. It's pretty realistic feeling overall. We also have the sport bucket seats since we have the AMG line, so the bolstering over here, as you can see, is a little bit more aggressive, and there's a lot of different interior color choices that you can pick between as well, and also other materials, so you can upgrade to real leather, and you can also upgrade to Nappa leather if you prefer. Now, as far as adjustments, those are over here on the door trim. We have 16 ways of power adjustment, including a power headrest as standard equipment. We have standard memory seats and standard seat heating. Ventilation is an extra cost option. Now let's climb inside. When you get inside, you get a little animation across the displays there. And let's look into the rest of the cabin materials. Starting with the door trim, we have a leatherette covering through here on the armrest, an aluminum trim, and then we have the MB Tex for the upper door trim, as well as the entire upper dashboard, all being finished in this stitched leather material. As we move down below, we have kind of a carbon fiber look to this trim that's passing all through here. You can get different options as well if you want a more like traditional wood trim as well. And then our center console here is finished in a piano black, of course, nicely leather padded along the center console as well. And the vents are made of real metal. Now, in terms of comparison to the competition, this interior does, I think, stand apart from the new Q5 as well as the BMW X3. Both of those cabins kind of took a little bit of a step backwards, actually, with the latest generation and the material quality, fit and finish. This does seem a little bit better with that premium feel and build quality. Now let's fire it up with the standard push button start. Now that's all fired up, we'll look at some individual details of the interior, starting with the gauge cluster. This has your traditional Mercedes gauge cluster. It's a 12.3-inch freestanding digital cluster, and you can continue to adjust all the different design characteristics with totally different looks, including the full screen navigation. You also can, of course, get an available head-up display. We don't have it on today's example. And as we pull back to the steering wheel, since we have the AMG line, it gives you the performance steering wheel from the AMG products. As you can see, nice look to this. Love the perforated leather and kind of the split design with the flat bottom. It does have power, tilt, and telescoping abilities, and heating is available. Now, let's take a look over here at interior storage. So we'll start out under our center console here, which has the wing design, and inside you're going to see some donuts. 10 donuts to be exact, and of course, here at Car Confections, this is our logo. That's why we put the donuts inside, so we can compare the volume to the rivals. That's pretty good, although it does not beat the donut test because we're looking for a dozen donuts. Now, as we move forward of that, most of your other storage is underneath of that sliding area. As you can see, you've got a couple cup holders. These are reconfigurable. You have a wireless phone charging pad, which is standard equipment, all the way back there, and a couple USB ports. Now, one thing I want to report for 2026, which is an update, is that our center console here, as you can see, is finished in the piano black, but this year, for no additional charge, you can also do a couple different interior trims and kind of match that to this. So this is actually one of those materials that can be added here for no additional charge. Now, as far as the shifter is concerned, electronic style, like typical Mercedes, pull down for drive. We have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. When we go into reverse, here's our 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you have the overhead view and the traditional view, plus the parking assistance ability. And then if I press into the individual camera views, there we go. We can actually start to slide all around the vehicle with these really nice looking graphics. And let's press the end there for park. Now, as far as below the screen here, we have a few more buttons, including our fingerprint reader for vehicle settings, and we also have a volume slider for our audio system. So you do have a standard sound system, but almost every single GLC has a Burmester sound system. That's what we have today, and let's sample it right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is excellent. It really fills up the cabin nicely and is a good balanced sound quality. I also, of course, just love having the beautiful real metal speaker grills. Burmester does some of the most detailed looking speaker grill work. Alright, so let's dig in now to the central display. Of course, you have the large display. It's kind of more of the portrait style and stuck here on the dashboard. This has MBUX, Mercedes' latest infotainment software, and the bottom part will be your climate controls. This is a dual zone automatic setup for all the models, and you just adjust that quite easily through there. Additional climate functions are located inside of the climate menu. For the actual system itself, nice looking graphics, they're very sharp and crisp. Performance is pretty good as well. We have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, and we also have a built-in navigation system. Of course, you have very nice ambient lighting. It kind of runs all through the interior and inside of the vents. And then up top here, we've got an auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. Lastly, if you swipe back on that touch-sensitive panel, that will bring back the sunshade for our panoramic sunroof. This is an available option on this model, and the front panel does open up.
Now let's talk about the rear seat area of the GLC. I think you'll be pretty pleasantly surprised with what you find back here in terms of space and features. So let's talk about space first. So what we're sitting at is about 37 inches of legroom, nearly 40 inches of headroom. Those are really pretty good figures. They are very much in line with the BMW X3 and the Audi Q5. The headroom certainly is quite good, especially for someone of my size, I'm 5'9" for reference, and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I brought along the official Car Confections ruler so we get a realistic knee room figure for you, and we're looking at 8 inches. That's actually really quite good for this segment. Also, my feet can slide up underneath of the seat. Of course, this is a little bit smaller than the bigger brother GLE Mercedes, though. Now, as far as the seat itself, we do not have the ability to recline, so just keep that in mind. And then over here in the center console, we have a nice armrest. You can kind of pop that out and use that as a phone holder, or you can fully pop it out and have some cup holders. As far as in the center, we have rear vents. You can easily adjust them with that. And then we do not have our own climate adjustments back here, and we also, surprisingly, don't have USB ports on the GLC. So I'm a little disappointed to not see USB ports, at least here in this rear area. But you can get heated rear seats. We just don't have it on this particular model. Over on the door trim, we have leatherette all across the top part and through the center section. Nice ambient lighting as well going on, and then actually quite a lot of door storage in the bottom. Walking up to the tailgate, we have a standard hands-free Power 1 on every GLC, and let's talk about space. So we're sitting at about 24 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. We conveniently have handles located on both of these sides to electronically fold the second row down. They do fold 40-20-40 split folding, by the way. And your maximum is sitting at 56 cubic feet for this model. Those are pretty good space figures for this segment. It's very much in line with most of the options. However, I do want to point out the new BMW X3 is slightly bigger. And speaking of all the other options in this segment, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at all the luxury compact SUVs on the market and ranked them in the 10 most important categories to you all, this shopper. Things like cargo space, interior luxury, technology, powertrain choices, safety, and reliability are all there detailed for you. So based on what's most important to you, you can see the best options in the segment. So definitely use that if you want to make an informed buying decision. Now, back to the GLC, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as cargo length, we're looking at 75 inches from Drew's 5'8" driving position. From behind the second row of seats, 39 inches. As far as the opening, 43 inches wide. And then the height is coming in about 29 inches. So not super tall, but it is going to be pretty good in all the other metrics. And then the load-in height is only 29 inches, so you won't have to, haul things up too much. Now, underneath of the floor, You will find a spare tire. Mercedes is nice enough to even include some gloves, so you don't even have to get your hands dirty physically. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Mercedes-Benz GLC. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, but first we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, there was 60 miles per hour with the GLC 300. So like we mentioned at the spec dump, there's several different powertrains you can get. Actually, I think there's 4 different powertrains. This is the one that almost everybody chooses, though. This is the GLC 300. And this model comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Makes 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. This is also an engine that is shared with the bigger GLE.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you compare to a GLE 350, this feels faster as you accelerate, as you might expect. It is a smaller SUV after all. I think this is more than adequate for 95% of GLC buyers, which is probably why most of them sold are this GLC 300 combination. But that being said, Mercedes does offer you quite a few other combinations as well. One of the options that we looked at last year actually was the new 350e, which is the plug-in hybrid variant that has some really impressive specs. And if you want to check out that review, you certainly can hop on over to that review on our channel. But it has very good numbers, 313 horsepower, and it also has really amazing range. Additionally, for those of you who want power, you can have the AMG GLC 43 as well as the AMG GLC 63 SE Performance. I think I hit all the nomenclature on that one. Both of those are very fast.
As far as the transmission is concerned, we've got a 9-speed automatic transmission. Overall, it's nice and smooth. And of course, it can shift more aggressively if you choose the sport mode.
Yeah, I think most people in the Mercedes lineup are just kind of cruising along, and it's very smooth in that respect. You do have standard rear drive or available 4MATIC all-wheel drive. Most of the models actually will have 4MATIC all-wheel drive. And as far as fuel economy, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised with this figure as well. This thing does really well. So 25, 32, 28 miles per gallon combined if you choose the rear drive version with 4MATIC all-wheel drive, 23, 31, 26 mpg. So really impressive numbers out of the standard powertrain. That's going to be better than most of the rivals. You also have a really amazing auto start stop system. It is a mild hybrid system, by the way, so that's how you're able to achieve that type of fuel economy. And the plug-in hybrid 350e has 54 miles of all-electric range if you're interested in that. But now that we're just cruising down the highway portion of this review, I want to talk about ride quality. So with the GLC, you've always had pretty good ride quality. That will continue for 2026 model year. The Mercedes lineup definitely tends to skew on the more luxury side of things and comfort side. And I think that definitely is the case with your ride quality. This is going to be one of the very most comfortable options in the segment that you can get. When you hit a bump in the road, it does do a great job of soaking it up. These seats are definitely a little bit on the firm side, so I will tell you that for sure. So maybe test out the MB Tex and the real leather seat to see which one kind of fits your liking a little bit better. But overall, the ride quality itself is going to be very good. I would say it is better than some of the rivals. All right, so we're going to speed up to 55 miles per hour so we can get a sound level reading in this GLC 300. We have it on fan speed 1. Really good. 53.2 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading here in the GLC 300. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And indeed, the GLC has been a reigning champion for quite a while. This sound level reading, once again, kind of goes to prove that this is a really exceptionally quiet cabin for this segment. It is going to be quieter than a lot of its main competition, that's for sure. So definitely happy to hear that. Also, this model doesn't have the optional acoustic glass, which is supposed to make the cabin even quieter. So I'm happy they're also offering that as an available option for those that want to check that box. And what's our slam dunk and airball for the GLC? Drew, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the slam dunk?
The slam dunk, I think, is the interior. I think Mercedes has really done a great job of kind of giving you that feel like you have one of the more expensive Mercedes SUVs and giving that really nicely here in the GLC. Also, I think, as I mentioned in the interior material section of the video, its main two German competitors kind of took a step backwards. So I think when you compare against those, that you'll really like this interior.
Yeah, I have to say, I definitely agree with that. This definitely feels like a step above those other German rivals. Now, on the flip side, what's our airball? Our airball is going to be the price and kind of the value that you get with this GLC. It certainly demands one of the highest prices in the segment, and also you do miss out on some of the features. Like, for instance, this model doesn't even have rear USB ports at $65,000, so I think that's kind of something that should be included at that price point. Now let's talk pricing. So for 2026 model year, I'm happy to report that Mercedes really hasn't raised the price much. It's only about $500 more expensive than it was in 2025. We start a hair under $50,000, as I said earlier. Now most models will be this 300 4MATIC, which adds a little bit extra. $51,550 is the starting price for that one. We also do have I would say, decently optioned model. There's definitely a couple options that we are missing. After $1,250 destination, we're sitting at $64,735. If you're curious as to where this particular unit was made, it was manufactured in Germany. So that's a nice vehicle. Now, if you're curious as to where this vehicle was manufactured at, it was manufactured in Germany. Now, if you're looking to buy a Mercedes GLC or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealer negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability. First off, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Mercedes GLC's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 41.19% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 17.03% of original MSRP. Now, it's worth noting that is lower than industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is on par with other German luxury brands such as BMW and Audi.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several reliability studies and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. In this regard, Mercedes is rated below the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. Unfortunately, unlike a lot of its competition, Mercedes still has not added complimentary maintenance. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. If you enjoyed hearing about all the 2026 changes on this model and our review, we'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.